So apparently, since nobody in Hollywood wants anything to do with him after racking up multiple rape and sexual assault accusations over the past couple years, Russell Brand has chosen to rebrand himself as a Trump-supporting right-wing grifter. Recognizing Trump supporters' cavalier attitude towards sexual assault and their propensity to piss away money on useless products of little or no value, this was naturally the next logical step in Brand's career, and last week he unveiled his latest grift.
And as you know, airports are places full of Wi-Fi and all sorts of evil energies. Think of all the phones out there, all of the signals, corruptible and corrupting. Luckily, I wear this magical amulet from AirTech that keeps me safe from all of the various signals out there.
That's right, now he's hawking magical hippie necklaces for $250 a pop. But as he states in the video, these are no ordinary $250 magical hippie necklaces. Oh no, these hippie necklaces contain a special amulet that will protect you from all the evil Soros-funded 5G invisible cancer-causing radio waves floating around these days. Yeah, so you can get two for $412. Wow, two useless hunks of shit. What a deal. Now, I must admit, as far as useless hunks of shit go, this is one of the prettier pieces I've seen being peddled. But like all right-wing grifts, this thing is absolutely useless and definitely costs way less than he's charging for it. So what is it? Well, from the pictures, it appears to be just a mass-produced, likely made in China, little resin pendant. But why the hefty price tag? After all, you can find similar worthless resin pendants on Alibaba going for a little over $3 a pop. Well, therein lies the first half of the grift. As a grifter, your first job is to find some dirt-cheap mass-produced Chinese-made crap, give it a fancy name like the AirStack Lifetune 1, make up some bogus claim that it'll protect your kids from catching evil airborne transgender furry cooties, and sell it to morons at a 900% markup. But the second half of the grift is where the real magic happens. Now that you have your useless Chinese crap, you need to figure out how to get people to think that it's worth the price. And for that, you'll need a grifter's favorite weapon: pseudoscience. You see, with real science, you ask a question, do background research, conduct a hypothesis, test with an experiment, and check that the procedure is working. And if it's not, you troubleshoot the procedure, carefully check all sets and setups, and test the experiment again. And if it is working, you analyze that data and draw conclusions. And if the results align with your hypothesis, you communicate those results. If the results don't totally align with your hypothesis, experimental data becomes a basis for new future projects, ask new questions, and form a new hypothesis and run the experiment again. But with pseudoscience, you don't dare or want to ask any questions. You conduct a model based on preconceived ideas. You find the data that fits the model, discard data that does not align with the model, and you trust the quote-unquote experts. Utilizing the power of pseudoscience, you can sell anything to anybody. Like, say, for example, selling sugar pills to morons that listen to your podcast by telling them it'll make your brain work better. Anyway, back to our magical hippie necklace. Apparently, the reason for the hefty price tag is because embedded within your cheap Chinese crap is a state-of-the-art silicon resonator chip that shields you from harmful EMF radiation emitted by 5G, cell phones, and other appliances. But I know what you're thinking. If it's blocking all that evil Wi-Fi and whatnot, then how is it that the wireless mic on Brand's shirt is working in his little TikTok video? Well, not to worry, the pseudoscience has an answer for that too, complete with a super scientific technical diagram. Non-coherent radiation, transformer, biological object, coherent radiation. Ah, well, that explains it perfectly. And if you were to take a look at the Our Technology section of the website, you'll find a shit ton of links to PDFs jam-packed with textbook examples of how to scare people that don't know any better into believing that you know about something too complicated for them to understand. There is an absolute mountain of bullshit on this website. It took me hours to get through it all. But if you actually click on any of those links, you'll be subjected to pages upon pages of over-technical word salad with a few ominous-looking graphs and diagrams sprinkled in for good measure. Such mechanical-like longitudinal wave diffusion is distinctional with ordinarily emitted electromagnetic waves and has a strong penetration capability into living tissue, blah 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 blah. It basically amounts to a written version of the Rockwell Retro-Encabulator meme from the early 2000s, where a smart-looking guy shows you a machine and spits out so much technobabble bullshit that if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was a real machine and he was talking about something super complicated, but in reality, it's not a real thing at all, and he's not actually saying anything.
The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan. The lineup consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes, so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus-O deltoid type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator. Every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible Tremi pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters. Moreover, whenever fluorescent score motion is required, it may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation dingle arm to reduce sinusoidal depleneration.
And that's exactly what you're getting from the science behind Brand's little hippie necklaces. The sources cited are all a bunch of other hack grifters peddling their books and blogs filled with nonsense. Like Dr. Eldon Bird, who's described as a specialist in medical engineering and bioeffects, which basically means that he believes that diseases can be cured by just thinking about it extra hard. But nah, this Bird guy is super legit. After all, he's been doing lectures on mind control for decades now, and even been featured in such prestigious publications as a janky-looking blog called Mind Justice and the Terrorized Germany YouTube channel. Convinced yet? But hey, what about the state-of-the-art silicon chip that's supposedly inside these things? If that's not real, then what's with this patent that they have featured on the website? Well, if you were to actually read that patent, and you managed to get through 30 or so pages of technobabble bullshit, you'd find that the patent isn't for any kind of technology at all. It's actually for the artwork. Claim the ornamental design for an electromagnetic radiation converter as shown and described. But if you don't actually know how to read a patent, you just assume that they were talking about the actual device itself, because they go into like 30 pages of rambling bullshit detail about what this thing supposedly does. But if you get to the last page, the actual claim that the patent is for the artwork. And to put the final nail in this bullshit coffin, a guy on YouTube actually tested one of these stupid things to see if they actually do anything, and, well, you can probably guess how well that went.
This is a CPAP device. Really wonderful device if you suffer from sleep apnea, but did you know how much it gives off an electric field radiation? I'm going to bring in my meter, and I'll show you. It's high plus, extreme, 360. Anything below 10 is considered kind of healthy. Anything above that is considered unhealthy. Let me show you what happens when I bring in my shungite cell plate into the area. Drops below 10. Take it away, bring it in, 2.6. Now let's use the LifeTune device. This is about $120 Canadian. It's supposed to mitigate fields, mitigate radiation within, I think they said, a 9-foot radius. It literally does nothing.
And I'll leave a link to this guy's channel down below. He actually does a really good 20-minute breakdown of how these guys fake their research and patents to fool people that don't know any better. But yeah, long story short, a multi-millionaire celebrity is charging $250 for a $4 hunk of crap that doesn't actually do a damn thing. There's the guy's channel if you want to go. And a last-minute update to this story. Detectives are now asking prosecutors to consider bringing charges against Grifty Grifterson in relation to his alleged sex crimes. Hope they do.